Hello, everyone, and welcome to our lovely panel discussion. We are going to get started with our program tonight, and welcome to the Sacred You community, Inspire, Innovate, Ignite, Conversations That Count. This is our Women's Empowerment Program, and we are going to have a wonderful discussion this evening on the benefits of shadow work, healing our dark side. We have a selected group of panelists that are here to answer your questions so that you can get support on working on the parts of ourselves that we don't always welcome. So we all have a dark side or different sides to our personality that we do not let many people see. Why do we hide from this shadow of ourselves? Is it because we're told that isn't nice, don't behave that way, or simply stop it? I've heard my mother say that before. And however we arrive at the conclusion, the message was it was not okay to have these darker feelings and or behaviors. And what if we were to explore this part of ourselves? What if we accept it and love ourselves regardless? This is known as shadow work. So in this discussion, we will talk about the benefits of shadow work and what it means to our healing and integrating this dark side to become more authentically ourselves. So before we get started, I'd like to introduce you to our lovely group of expert panelists. And I'm going to start with Colleen Wynia. Did I pronounce your name correctly, Colleen? Your last name?
Very close. Very close. It's Colleen Wynia.
Wynia. Okay.
Wynia, kind of like, yes.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're right.
So Colleen is a spiritual intuitive, a reset your vibe vision coach. She does breath work. She's a breath work healer and the curator of Crystallize Your Vision, a spiritual and personal development program for women and heart-centered leaders ready to transform suffering and self-doubt into clarity, confidence, and creativity. Colleen shows you how to tap into your intuitive personal guidance system to recognize the signs circling in your body and daily life, and interpreting messages from your spiritual cheerleaders ready to guide you towards greater harmony and freedom for living your highest purpose. For more than 20 years, Colleen has guided people in reconnecting with self after loss and effectively navigating life's ever-changing landscape of stormy seasons by teaching how to communicate with the spirit, recognize the signs from loved ones that have transitioned, and trust their intuitive brilliance and emotional wisdom. And here's a fun fact. Colleen is an earth gal, a retired rock climber, dark chocolate almonds fan, and lover of hiking in the dark, which I love. I'd like to talk to you about that later. Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you.
We have Janaki Mayhill. Am I pronouncing your first name correctly, Janaki?
Very close, Janaki.
Janaki. Okay, thank you. So Janaki is an agent of change and an alchemist of well-being. She grew up in a yoga family and was fed a lot of consciousness unconsciously. I love that expression. She witnessed her parents many times, either fistfighting or meditating, experiencing conflict in her family. She hid behind the mask of the persona of what she thought others wanted her to be, forgetting who she was so she could remember who she really is. Now she's dedicated to big play, which is power, love, aligns you, and has taken off the mask, and she shows up powerfully in her true, raw, authentic expression of who she is. She has mastered so many of her perceived weaknesses into her great strengths and loves to help empower others to do the same. Janaki has many certifications such as yoga, coaching with the art of sacred language, both body and spoken. She's an NLP master practitioner, hypnosis, and she's also certified in QTT, Quantum Time Technique. She enjoys all her tools, and her greatest certification comes from within her certainty, certified to the T. She is passionate about supporting people reclaiming who they are and remember to come back home, heaven on earth, on Mother Earth, into the wholeness of their innermost being, where she witnessed so much quantum massive, tangible transformation. This is one of the ways she lives her purpose with passion, doing her planetary work. And then let's see, we have, last but not least, is Soulara. Soulara is an empath and a Usui Reiki master teacher and founder of Soul Reiki. Her mission is to support the transformation, healing, and expansion of souls through the energetic healing of the mind, body, and spirit. Initially, Soulara entered the realm of health and wellness through the conventional door of nursing. And during her 16-plus-year career, she developed a sincere interest in the topic of energy healing after noticing that her own energy levels were being severely depleted, eventually leading her to nearly passing out during a shift at work and spending the night in the hospital. Though the medical team wasn't able to find out what caused the episode, she knew it was a sign to begin her own healing journey and move towards providing preventative spiritual care for others that would positively impact every aspect of their lives. She jumped soul first into educating herself about empaths and the energetic healing art of Reiki. A self-professed soul activator, she integrates her intuitive gifts of clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairvoyance with intuitive advising, guiding her clients to solistic wellness through her meta community. Superheroes, you are enough. Healing sessions, curated masterclasses, and group events. So you can see we have three lovely panelists who are very well versed in our topic tonight, and I'm really excited to get started. And before we do that, let me introduce myself. My name is Josette Diaz, and I transform women's lives through self-mastery. I work with women who silently struggle with trying to do it all, saying yes when they want to say no, and being the gal who feels they can never get it done because it simply is never good enough. After clients complete my system of self-mastery, they're able to attune to the powerful rhythm within, tap into their inner knowing, and get results without pushing. They finally relax into the safety and ease of slowing down. As they learn to release their burdens and listen deeply, their confusion evaporates and they're able to step into the dream that has been calling them. Ultimately, they learn to master tools that lift the veil of their own authenticity so they can embark on a journey of freedom and ease. So, ladies, are we ready to get started? I'm so excited that you're all here. And this is a topic that, a lot of us don't like to really consider, that we have a dark side or that we have sides of ourselves that really are not what we consider favorable. And the thought has occurred to me before in the past, and I'm sure that some of you can probably relate to this, that, even the things that we consider not good are actually good. So I'd like to start off with the question. I'm going to go around and ask each of you the same question. And that first question I have for you is, how can you identify your shadow? And are there signs? So I'd like to start with you, Janaki, if you would mind answering that question first.
Yes, so what I call my shadow are all the things I've yet to love. And so my signs is in 2020, I received, because I was so triggered by the mask, that I received that the mask, because it was this for me, it was holding back expression. And so then I dug deeper and I was like, so what is this? For what purpose are these triggers coming up? And then I go, Oh, and I heard what triggers are. Triggers are the shadows of yourself that you have yet to acknowledge or even be aware of. And those shadows have come up to be integrated into light and dark, because through the darkness, our light is born. How are we to know we are light if we aren't experience darkness? So I'm so passionate about the shadow work. That's what I do in my journeys. And I was the little girl who would run from those things that used to scare me. And now I embrace them, and I love empowering others to do the same, because it's such profound and powerful, deep work.
That's wonderful. I love that you identify that triggers are the signal of the shadow. So can you just give me one trigger that you would say is maybe common that you run into with your clients?
Common one. Oh, with my clients. Okay.
Or whatever.
I'm very, that's one of my gifts. I'm constantly aware. So we'll just go. The first thing is I get triggered by my mess.
Mm.
And actually, in my women's retreat, I had an aha moment of me shaming my mess. And shame is too much, not enough, broken, right, wrong, good, bad, all those aspects. And so what I discovered is, oh, all the shame that I've had around mess, children are meant to be creatively messy. So I've been unconsciously shaming my inner child by me shaming being mess. And it was that idea of trying to be perfect, showing up in this other way because I had so much shame around my mess. So now I have a new motto is model the messy instead of trying to show up perfect.
That's great. I love that. Thank you so much. That's like adding a nice like a dot at the top of the I, or crossing the T is like you're turning it around in a way that's favorable. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And Soulara, can I ask you the same question?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. So, when I think about the shadow, my definition would really be that part of ourselves that we keep hidden. It's that part of ourselves that we would rather not talk about. We're not bringing up shadow aspects on a first date. No way, right?
Yeah.
It's that part of ourselves where we are just really ashamed, embarrassed, and we put on a mask. We said that a little bit earlier about trying to make sure that other people don't see that part of ourselves that we haven't yet embraced. And so I typically see 7 top signs where the shadow aspects are really prevalent. And so I'm going to list those, and some of these might sound familiar. So, the tendency to judge others harshly. When I was in the workplace, especially as a nurse, can you imagine physicians and maybe some surgeons would be speaking in a manner that really wasn't appropriate a lot of times, especially for nurses, sometimes other ancillary staff members. I would kind of think to myself, well, why is that particular person speaking in that way? Or that may not have been necessary to say it like that. And so I found myself at times trying to facilitate a better way of communicating with a physician. So just that tendency to judge others harshly. Repressed sexuality. I think that's a big one, especially for women in general. And we think in terms of were we made to feel like exploring sexuality was something to be ashamed of? Should it not be done if you weren't married, right? This kind of gets into the connotations of, religious upbringings and feeling shameful about the topic of sex, guilt when speaking about sexual experiences, things of that nature. Another one is projection, projecting how we're feeling ourselves onto someone else. So if you're in a situation where you're either projecting or you're feeling like, hey, someone is projecting how they feel about a particular topic or circumstance, and it's coming on to me. Another one is internet trolling. When I was doing some research for the topic, I thought that to be very interesting. We hear this term a lot, like, oh, someone's trolling on the internet, but it really is true, because we would think to ourselves, who has the time to go around and just incite chaos and madness on posts? Why would you do that? There has to be something going on the inside of that person to be able to have that sort of energy and walk in that vibration. Another one is being quick tempered, and especially directing that quick temperedness towards people of I would say, a subordinate role. And again, this gets back into the employee manager aspect. I saw a lot of that happening during COVID. I actually walked away from nursing kind of at the height of COVID, and I had had enough. Imagine they were looking for nurses at that time, but myself, I said, I'm going to do one more assignment, and that's going to be it. I've had enough. And so their tempers were flaring high, and there was so much chaos going on in the corporate healthcare setting that I just realized that there's a lot of healing overall, that people definitely weren't that interested in, taking the journey in 2020. But I myself, I decided it was the right time, to walk away and just begin that healing journey. Victim mentality, that's another big one, where nothing is our fault. It's always someone else. Have we known someone, if it hasn't even been ourselves at one point in time, where, something's going on and, it's not our fault. It's someone else's fault. And then the last one is lack of boundaries. I especially, and again, I have to always go back to that nursing because I was in that career for so long. And I just remember just being infringed upon all the time, not being able to eat lunch even without being, interrupted, or just not having a boundary, set. Interpersonal relationships, not being able to stand in my truth and say what I want to do versus what I don't want to do. And, feeling like I had to say yes, or it's expected of me to be the nice one, the kind one, the understanding one, right? So these are ways that the seven signs that show up as far as how we know that our shadow is in operation, it's in the driving seat.
That's really good. I mean, I think that, I love that you gave some very specific kind of topics that people can really kind of relate to and sink their teeth into, and really assess whether or not they have some of that going on. So thank you so much for your answer. I really love that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Colleen, you're up. Last but not least.
Wonderful. I get to act from my jumping on my toes, because as the ladies have shared some really incredible examples, as I'm sitting here, 3 of them, I work in the moment as an intuitive. I allow, as we allow what is ready to come through. So what's coming through for me that's related to me and many of my clients is, it's okay, Allison. I see 3 of them coming through right now for me. And the first one that many of you may be able to relate with is a sign is, what are you addicted to? In my life, my core addiction is really huge, and it took me forever to be willing to talk about it. I might talk about it with this couple people I was safe. I may talk about it with key clients that were dealing with it, but now I've worked through so many years of bulimia as my food source to cover up my pain. So, which leads us kind of to the second one. So the first one is, what are you overindulging with that is bad for you? That's really a wonderful sign that you're in that part of yourself, and you're not willing to embrace it. And that's what I was unwilling to do. And it was really hard because my sister leaned into alcohol, and sadly she's transitioned. I just took a really long time and have hurt my body in other ways, but thankfully I'm still here to work through it. The second one that was related to the addiction, or any addiction, is looking to others to fill my needs, or looking to others for love. So I'll go to the boys. As a young woman, it was like, as a kid, as a girl, as a young woman, even till not so many years ago, it was like, where can I get my love? From them, from you loving me, them showing up for me. It doesn't come from them. So that was a real big indicator eventually. As we all know, we're here to learn self-love with source and spirit first. Then the world will give back to us. And nobody can meet us until we meet ourselves. So going into those spaces that are so freaking uncomfortable for many folks, hence shadow, it's not really bad. It actually, I know we haven't gone to the next question, but it'll burn off when we go into the pain. it will release. So the third one is kind of, again, related on the stem of addiction, looking to others fulfill your needs, where the third one, overgiving, overpleasing. I'm sure Soulara can, relate to that, to one of the core signs she gave around, what was it? Boundaries. Yeah. So it was like, where are you overextending yourself? And so those are three, really to notice. And that was what I'm continuing to heal and help my clients tap into. Where are these addictions, which are just a challenge to allow ourselves to feel all of our stuff, our good stuff and our yuckies.
I love this. I mean, each of you have given such great, juicy tidbits for everyone out here. And Colleen, I like that you really tapped into that part where it gets a little bit sneaky. It creeps up on people, like using food sometimes to fill that source. I know sugar is kind of like my thing. And, I know that I really love that you mentioned the need to fill the hole by requiring basically other people to kind of fulfill your needs or be there as your crutch or support in that way that's not healthy for you. And so I think a lot of people sometimes use these types of things and they don't think of that as like a shadow side to themselves. And so I love that. And I love what everyone has said here. We have like some really great like triggers, and we have 7 top topics that, really indicate that you're in your shadow side that Soulara mentioned. And then you've come along with this addiction piece with some very important morsels. So thank you so much. And I'm going to move on to the next question, but I'd like to acknowledge that we have Jackie Lee, who is here saying hello. And so hello, Jackie, welcome. We're so glad you're here. And we have our beautiful Allison Cotton, who has joined us live. So I'm so happy that you're here, Allison. And anyone who is watching, you are welcome to put any questions. We would love to answer your questions directly. And until we get something specific from you, we're going to go around and go on to our next question for the panel. And so our next question is, if you judge others for what we consider bad behavior, and I put this in quotes because I'm going to do the air quote thing. I know it's a little annoying, but if we judge others for bad behavior, is it true of yourself? Is that a sure sign that you also, if you spot it, you got it kind of thing? So can I go ahead? I'm going to go backwards. So Colleen, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and answer that question first.
Oh, I'm so on the spot all the time. I like to come into places where I'm purposely unprepared. Does that make sense? Because I've spent a lifetime trying to prepare, and it doesn't really work. I can see some nods. Okay, what was the question? Let me get back on track here, ladies. Oh, judge. Oh, absolutely. I'm trying to think of some examples right now, but more than anything, it's just like, it's so, I can only think of subtle ones right now. So I'll let you ladies bring up the deeper ones, but just anything like, you're driving along in the car and you're just absolutely judging that person is of that nature. They're slow, they're fat, they're stupid. Okay, I'm going to be frank. You're judging outside of yourself. Right. And when you stop and take a look, and you bring it, and if you can catch yourself, which you'll get really good at more and more, you start to choose to catch yourself. That's it, there we go. So when you judge something in another, do a little trick, like some people take an elastic. I actually have a hair elastic here. And that you've heard the band where, you snap your wrist, or, you have a Post-it note somewhere on your fridge or your computer, and ask yourself, is this true? And then flip it around. Is this true about me? So quite often it could be the little scared little girl or little boy in you that really, like, when I'm around people that when I was a kid that were overweight, and I didn't want to be overweight. Remember, I said I had the eating, the bulimia, and I'm huge into exercise. I would be like, exercise my, calories away and and toss the rest, excuse my French here. But it was just like, I couldn't be that. And if I was that, what would that mean about me? So it's it's like a double judgment. It's a feeling you have inside of you that you've not met. And then, what did I just say? What can it mean about me? So yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah, I think that's a really great way to answer it. And I like the example because it's true. When we think about, like, I love that you said to use a rubber band or a hair tie to snap on your, to remind yourself to ask the question, am I judging? Is that true, what I'm judging? And is it about me? Or what about it is about me is a great question. So I love that. Thank you.
I love it too. I have to write that down. It just channeled through. Like
You'll
to
have
be
the recording.
reminded of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Soulara, can I go to you next, please?
Yes, yes, yes. So what I was thinking of as Colleen was talking was I said, I'm having an awareness that Earth is like this place for us souls to come here and heal, work things out. Some of us are here for healing ourselves, and some of us are here to heal ourselves and then help uplift the vibration of the planet, like kind of double work. And what also came was that when we are in these families, and because we're attracting everything to us, people, circumstances, situations, so it's like they are mirroring who we are, if that makes sense. And so I was thinking about it from a standpoint of, wow, it goes back to one of those 7 signs of judging others harshly, because you see that in yourself. That's that shadow part that someone is expressing. And you're like, wait, no, don't do that, because that's who I am, kind of in the hidden aspect. Like, I don't want you to, be out here doing this part. No one's supposed to know this. So shh, be quiet, stay still. And so that's how I was, seeing that actually in my mind, like how that plays out, that's very interesting. And then another part of the sign that I was mentioning was the projection, how we feel about ourselves. We try to hide the shadow, and when we see a picture of a shadow, it's kind of cast behind us. Well, that shadow, if it's not dealt with, can grow and really morph and be much larger in presence than our actual physical body. It can overtake our biofield to where we're walking around with this aura that is just heavily shadowed. And, it's just the thing that you're trying to hide, as the saying says, what you hide in the dark will come to light. It will be put in the forefront. So I really do believe that definitely what someone else is exhibiting, if it's triggering you, we have to go deeper into that trigger and say, why is this triggering me? And then when we get to a certain point of that understanding, go back another step. Okay, well then why is that triggering me? Then go back another step until you get to the root cause. And it's always us. It's always us. And that's what I'm coming into that understanding of. It's always us. And so if we just kind of stay in that vibration and realize and understand that when other people are exhibiting certain behaviors, we can say, aha, okay, they may be in their shadow self, and it kind of brings more compassion and understanding. I'm sure, Colleen was saying, we're in traffic or, in these situations, and, sometimes we have that quick knee-jerk response to want to say something. But then if we, do our self-care activities and we're meditating, and in my case, I'm doing Reiki on a daily basis, then I can get into the self-mastery part. Josette, you were talking about that, mastering yourself, so that I can kind of see things before they happen, kind of get into an environment and know how I'm going to respond if something, develops and it's just not, it doesn't match my vibration. So I definitely think that when we are in judgment of others, that is a reflection of us actually having our shadow kind of tickled there.
That's great. I love that. It's being tickled. You're like getting the nice little feather saying,
hey, exactly. Like, hey,
that
stop,
might be
right?
You. Yeah, exactly. And it's so true. I think that, you were talking about the piece around, my gosh, the thoughts just went right out of my head. This happens every now and then. Ladies,
okay.
You may know what I mean. And I think though that it's important to, like what you were talking about, the judgment piece, that, if you start to recognize how you behave and what triggers you, then as you observe that behavior in yourself, you then have this awareness, a new self-awareness that you may not have had, like you're getting the little tickle, right?
Right.
And that then you get to develop that, and you get to continue to peel back the layers of that portion of yourself, which provides you with all of that awareness that leads you further into your mastery of your responses. So I love that. Thank you so
Exactly.
much.
You're welcome.
So I would like to call on our beautiful Janica.
Yes, I love how you even said, spot it, you got it, because I go by that as well. And so, what has shifted for me, because this is something I developed as a very young age, being raised with a family of having such spiritual awareness. I would have this, oh, this is really me. I was like, everything is you, everything is God, everything is you, everything is God, and you are God. And so then I would say, this person, like the older I got, well, this person's acting like this, and then I go, oh no, I go into the shame paradigm. What's wrong with me if I'm noticing this and this person? Oh no. And so what it was is I was in that role of blame and shame of over responsible. So I actually discovered this by writing my own bio. I thought it was a bio to share, and it was a bio for me specifically because it was so long. It was like a little story. And I discovered it there. I go, oh, I was the little girl who witnessed my parents fighting. So I became over responsible, thinking I was responsible for the way they feel. And so I made myself over responsible for everyone else. So then
I think we might have lost Janica. Okay, she'll come back on. Oh, she was right in the middle of something good. Oh, here she is.
okay, that's me. Heavens and goodness. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. If it's easier to keep your camera off, go
So,
ahead.
okay. Let's see. Maybe just for right now.
Yeah,
We'll turn it
yeah,
off.
we don't want to lose you again. So go ahead and keep it off for now.
Okay. Is it working okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're fine. We can hear you
I'm
perfectly.
connected to Wi-Fi. Okay, awesome. So when I decided to have a new relationship with responsible, instead of being responsible for everyone else, the one responsibility we have is the respond for our heart's call. And that helps me develop my relationship with my inner guidance and my intuition, because we all are capable of it. We just tend to ignore it. And it's that first initial response that we hear and we're like, oh, no, no, no. And now when I hear something, if it makes no sense, I still do it anyways, because I'm hearing my inner guidance. And that's how my I am journeys are led, is I say things that make no sense. And I'm like, why did I say that? And I don't question my heart.
Yeah.
My head might want to. And my heart knows, because our hearts is who the truth connect to our heart. And so when I decided to develop my relationship with responsible and see it in a new way versus the blame and shame paradigm of over responsible for everyone else, now I see when things happen, I notice and I go, oh, this is another opportunity for me to love something in me I've yet to love. What is it? And I start questioning. I start being curious. For what purpose is this acting in my life? For what purpose is this person playing a role? And asking myself, what are you feeling? And allowing myself to acknowledge, even if it means I hate what I feel, because I couldn't say what I hate. I couldn't say hate when growing up. And we just did a heart chakra in my I am journey. And is still hate, because the truth is love and thriving is who we are. And so we get to acknowledge and be real and feel all of ourselves. And that's how we allow ourselves to heal those pieces that we've yet to love. And so this was a beautiful, I'll share an experience with my husband. We were having an argument back and forth, and he's like, oh, you see lack in me, you have it. And we're going, like, spot it, you got it. Like, literally both saying, you spot it, you got it. I mean, this is how, when you have yeah. And so, and then all of a sudden I go downstairs and I go, oh, Janaki, and I like literally facilitate myself out loud. And I go, what are you not loving about Alex? Because that's my husband's name. And I go, okay, what's the shadow he's showing you that you've yet to love up in yourself? And I go, have you claimed him as you? Because he is your projection of you. What is he showing you now? And so then I notice I'm like, I'm feeling depressed, and I'm texting my husband this. I said, after yoga tomorrow, we're going to have a conversation, because I was that little girl who held back my expression and would try to be that people pleaser. And I said, I'm feeling depressed, and I know the opposite is for me to express. And so he reads my text message after I'm already sleeping and wakes me up. He goes, get up. And so I get up and he goes, we're having this conversation now. He goes, I'm not here for rainbows, butterflies, and sunshine. I'm here to dance through the storms with you. And he says, it pisses me, pardon my language real quick, because the way he said it was so perfect. It pisses me the fuck off, because you you try to be inspired by everyone else, and you don't even realize you inspire everybody. You inspire people without even trying. You inspire people unconsciously, but yet you keep looking for inspiration outside of you. When are you going to drink your own fucking Kool-Aid? And that statement right there shifted my whole life, because I was like, oh, oops. So instead of now talking the talk, because it's easy to talk the talk, can we walk the walk? And actually, when that happened, when I made that shift inside me, my I am journeys, at the time they were called Yoga Nidra, people started receiving quantum transformation, because I'm walking the walk. I pave the way before everyone else comes for more ease and grace, so they can receive.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how it works, right? You have to be able to walk it before you can teach it. And I love that you had such a frank conversation, and that it was just a turning point for you. And I really, really enjoyed that you spoke directly about responsibility, and turning responsibility around as being a fellow people pleaser, recovered. I totally understand that. And being able to be accountable, the buck stops with you. And so no matter what it is, and especially partners, I think really show you so much about yourself, your shadow side. Your children do the same. You know, we always swear we'll never be our mother, and then there we are. So and I think that it's just really so profoundly explained when you really talk about how it's a heart calling in that way. You know, that shadow part is truly your heart calling you to step up and step in. And so thank you very much for that. I would like to just pause here for a moment and go through the chat, because we have a lot of action happening. And Jackie Lee said that they love all of these ladies on the panel, and that everyone has such a beautiful soul and lots of wisdom. And we thank you so much, Jackie Lee, for being here. And let's see, we have panelists who are talking back and forth, so I won't read all of that. But I do want to say that we had one other comment. Oh, that was from Colleen. So wowza, right on, partner, was what she said about your storytelling. So great. So thank you so much. Okay, so if you do have questions, I just want to remind the audience that you're welcome to please put it in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. And I'm going to move on to our third question. That is, let's see, I want to decide here, because I think we have time for one more question. I want to make sure that you all get to put in your offers, and I want to hear from all of you for one last thing. So the last question that I'm going to ask is, what is one tool that you can suggest to help others when working with their shadow side? So I'm going to mix it up this time, and I'd like to start with Soulara.
Okay, so one tool that I would recommend It's going to be Reiki. Big surprise, right? So the reason why I would absolutely recommend Reiki is because I really deal a lot with energy. And I don't think we realize how important getting in touch with our energy centers called chakras in our body. I don't think we realize how important those energy centers influence our behavior, how we think, and just how we manifest, if we're even able to manifest based on blockages or partial closures of those energy centers. So when you have a Reiki session, the practitioner is actually lifting the energy in those energy centers so that you can have some clarity, so that you're able to see that, okay, these are some possible steps that I need to take. Maybe I'll look at a situation differently than the previous way that I was seeing it. So Reiki, in my opinion, is a very effective tool in just kind of lifting the heaviness that can really keep us confused, in a state of darkness and despair, and just kind of help us put things into perspective. So I would definitely say Reiki.
I love that. As a fellow Reiki master myself, I totally agree. I love that because you're really speaking to directly about removing the clutter in the pathways, right?
Absolutely.
And that really does clear the path. I love that. That's such a great suggestion. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Janaki, can I have you answer that question as well?
Yes. Grace and acceptance. What I've recently discovered is grace and acceptance lights up the pathway for love. And love is the truth of who we are. I got to experience this with my father because it was what I realized is I wasn't fully accepting him. It actually came through when my daughter had a bracelet break, and I was like, I'll fix it for you. And she goes, Mommy, if you think you can fix everything, then you're living in a fantasy. And I was like, oh, that hit home. And I go, okay. And I don't call myself a healer because I said, you're not broken. And I go, well, who am I still trying to fix? And I go, my dad. And then so I started questioning myself. I go, okay, so have you fully loved your father? And I said, I do. There's this layer of him that I'm not used to, where he's like, fight to win. And he's like this, he's the one who told me everyone's God and instilled so much beauty in me growing up. And then all of a sudden he's like, fight to win, and got involved in politics and all this stuff. And I'm like, Dad, who are you? And then I go, Janaki, have you fully loved him? And so when he came down, I decided to give him full acceptance and love. And I do that with myself now too. And after my solar plex chakra class of being friends with anger, he tells me, he goes, Janaki, I decided I'm no longer a fighter. I'm a lover. And so by my willingness to see my father differently, he has now shown up this way. And it started with grace and acceptance and loving him the way he is without trying to give advice or try to fix him or anything, loving him exactly the way he is, that little boy who is choosing to be heard.
That is beautiful. And, I think so often we don't even consider that grace and acceptance is the pathway to really opening and shifting relationships, right? And we don't start there. It takes us a lot of pain to get down to that place. And if we could start there a little sooner, we'd save ourselves a lot of time. And that's really beautiful and such good advice. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry, I keep mispronouncing your name, Janaki. So thank you.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you. And Colleen.
Hi, everybody. This has been so amazing. You guys are full of wisdom. What I'd love to do is just share really quickly 5 keys to work with the shadow, just not the whole detail, but just 5 keys, and then the tool that I will celebrate and recommend for all of you. We kind of talked about these before when we were talking about the signs, but just to reiterate, one of the ways you can go about it is, number 1, pay attention. So 5 keys to work with the shadow. It's simply pay attention, and when you're feeling out of sorts. Okay, so this is for the folks who want a quick step direction. Pay attention, make a note when you're feeling out of sorts. When you're feeling out of sorts, number 2, excuse me, be with your emotion. We all want to run. We don't like the feeling. It's pretty yucky. Be with your emotion. Even when you don't fully understand it. That's the most challenging thing, is you want to go into the why and the how and the what and la. So there are ways to be with your emotion, and we're all kind of trained to help you guys in different ways, right? All of us. Number 3, give shadow a name. When you experience, like stubbornness, maybe it's anger, maybe it's desire to control, simply acknowledge it. So giving it a name is acknowledging it, which is a level of accepting it, which then leads to whether it's guilt, inability to forgive, like just acknowledge. That's the first step to self-love and relinquishing the shadow. Number 4, notice when you're being a people pleaser. I don't think that one has to be explained very much. We just talked on that, but is there, could you be like, no, not now? Like, could you practice, rather than yes, yes, yes? And then what does it feel like? So now we go back to the feeling. Number 5, trust your body's intuitive brilliance as you go, like through your own unique process. And where I'll kind of wrap this is the tool that has been my fastest journey, which is life force energy, which is conscious connected breathing. It's a technique called rebirthing. And I can do that with a client for, I do more about, I have a program, but I still work with some one-to-one clients. And there is a way to do this online, which is so cool, because for 20 years, I've been taking people through this deep process. But basically, I'll just show you all. You could do a mini version of what I would do with clients for 45, 50 minutes. It is one of the fastest ways to get into the unconscious or the subconscious or the etc. That's right there to bring up the stuff, right? Just like meditation and all these things, but it's a conscious breath work. And one you could do in the morning to help reset your vibe or kind of work with that, the emotion or the lethargy or whatever it is that you don't really want to start your day. And I speak from the morning because I like the night. I'm not really a morning person, so it's always challenging for me. I don't know if there's many of you out there, but I'm one of the ones that like to be a night owl. Is like this. So breathing in from your belly, you can put one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart, and you can breathe in from your belly. Through your mouth, you're going to relax your jaw. Just breathe in through your mouth. I'll do one more. So you're breathing in through your solar plexus right up to your heart, but you're doing it through the mouth versus the nose, which is other types of breathing. And when you let go, just and through a powerful breathwork session, we speed up the process and all of that. But if you ever want to know more, but it is so worked me get to my, that didn't make any sense what I just said, but it worked to get me to my yuckiness and start to claim and burn things off fast.
I love that. Thank you so much. Breathwork is so powerful. And that's a great tool. And it's great that you have something that you can go to easy like that in the moment, especially like when you're in the middle of, yes, did you want to say something?
Oh, you triggered me I forgot to wrap it. So if in the morning, let's say you're not really you don't do breathing very much. You're a person who's just kind of getting into it, right? You could do it for 2 minutes or 5 minutes where, if you get dizzy, just slow it down, but eventually you can be laying down flat. So you don't even have to get out of bed. You can be sitting up. And then what I invite you to do is if you do for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 1 minute, then equally lay and bask in the vibration of the feeling of if it's peace and you feel more calm and peaceful, just meditate in that for a little bit. Nice. So you're doing the breath work and then you're moving into peace. And of course, if things get activated, which breath work can do, reach out to someone who can support you through the emotion that's coming up to be met, resolved, and embraced.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I mean, I think the audience who is watching, I'm sitting here reeling with all the wisdom that all of you have shared with us and the tools that you've just given everyone. Each one of you has given something that's really uniquely valuable And I also think that it speaks to the work that you do with your clients and what care and consideration and love that you provide them, just really holding space for whatever is happening in whatever way that you deliver your service. And I just want to thank you all for just really being here and providing such wisdom and graciousness and really helping people kind of like know what they can do when that shadow part comes up. I do want to share one quote to end us with, and it's from Carl Jung, who says, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And I think that this was just a beautiful panel to have such a lovely conversation. So I'd like to give you all an opportunity in our closing to let us know if you have anything immediate that's coming up. All of the links from our experts tonight will be in the posts. So you should be able to access them very easily. And right here live, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you, Colleen, do you have anything coming up that you would like to share?
I do. I have I can't talk. Josette would just had already shared that I was a creator of Crystallize Your Vision. So that's a program that I support people through spiritually, allowing them to energize your intuition and tap into more clarity, confidence, and creativity through your own personal guidance system. And that is my passion, to really show a transformational journey for everybody. And you can certainly reach out, book a call with me, or say hi, and we'll explore your opportunities together. But what I would love to leave you and gift you is an opportunity to come to my free class. It's called Spirit Conversations with Colleen. I've been running it once a month. And the next one, we just had one last week on a Wednesday. So next month on a Wednesday, March 22nd, you can go to the notes where the links are, and feel free to take a look at the Facebook event, or actually, I think I just shared the register link, but it also has the same information, and you can be a part of that at no cost for you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. And Soulara, would you like to share anything that you have coming up or some offer that you have?
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. So on Friday, I'm so excited. I am launching my signature program. So I'm really big into numerology. So it's 3-3 at 3 p.m. I'm going to launch Soul Worth It. Okay, so I'm going to be using Reiki to reconnect you with your inner wisdom so that you can remember who you are and rediscover your zone of genius. And when you do that, you're going to project confidence, harness your natural abilities that spark more creativity, and unleash your highest potential. I'm very excited about that. On the 15th of March, I'm going to be doing a podcast interview with Conversations with Robin, and all of this information will be available on the link that will be provided. One more event, and I hold so much gratitude for this second time that myself and my dear friend Jan Jeremias, who is a registered yoga teacher, we are doing our second combined Reiki yoga event. It's called Spring into Wellness, Revitalizing the Mind, Body, and Soul, a virtual Reiki and yoga experience. And that's on the 16th of April. So again, all of these events will be on the link. And I hope to see you all soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Soulara. Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
beautiful. And Janaki, would you like to go next, please?
Yes, I am actually in the middle of my I Am journeys. It's I Am Awaken. It's my chakra series. We just completed heart chakra, and next Friday we're moving into throat chakra. So I dive into the shadows. So it's the undoing of all the doing. And so heart chakra, we move through hate and resentment into deep love and forgiveness. And we went all the way back to the seed of our DNA. So powerful. And so for throat chakra is moving through depression into being your purest true expression. And then third eye is moving through the confusion of the illusion into nuclear vision, and wisdom. And third, crown chakra is moving through the belief of separation into divine union. Then after these, I have a mini immersion retreat that I'm offering. And then early or late spring, early summer in May, I will be having my second family retreat called Family Resolutions. And yes, so I have all those offers, and I can share the flyer, and also on my website, I do have each of the events you can attend virtually, or if you live near Houston, you can attend in person. They are usually about a 2-hour journey, and it's a quantum journey of love.
Nice. Oh, that's beautiful. Each of you have such beautiful offers, and I know that there's so much out there for everyone to reach out and connect with you. We will have your links in our posts. Was there something else?
I have a free gift now.
Okay,
On
great.
my website, if you go into, there is a manifestation activation meditation. And if you type in I am love, then it's a free gift, and it's a $25 value. It's 25 minutes long.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'd like to thank all of you for being here, and just to sign us off with some information about the sacred community. I am actually a tribe host of A Path to Self-Esteem, and I'm also a co-host of the Magical Playground. And my tribe, A Path to Self-Esteem, is all about identifying what you believe, what your belief system is versus what you value, and to see whether or not you need to clear up some belief systems so that you are truly living in alignment. That automatically will lift your self-esteem. And we discuss various topics that kind of sneak up on us that can kind of filter out our self-esteem and diminish it and chunk away at it a little bit at a time. And having an awareness around that allows you to build the confidence and your self-esteem that raises that confidence and your self-worth, and everything begins to rise from there. So that is what that tribe is about, and I'd love to see you there if it interests you. And the Magical Playground, it was designed for empowering women, specifically women that are entrepreneurs, as well as women who are not, who are looking for some empowerment. And in this environment, Lisa DePampoulos and I co-host this tribe, and we've created it to provide you with a place to create the magic that we all need to tap into our creativity, so that you then are opened up to receive more beautiful ideas, more transformation, more connection with yourself, and do it all in the comfort of community where women see you and witness you. So there's a lot that our sacred community offers everyone. And if you enjoyed this panel discussion and you like the sound of a couple of those things that I mentioned in the tribes that I'm involved in, we have a variety of other tribes as well. Allison Cotton, who was here earlier this evening, has a great tribe, which is Human Design. So there's a lot to offer. And if you like what we're talking about, you can come and join our sacred community for 21 days for $1 and try out the things that interest you. So we would love to have you there. If you are looking to find your passion and you want to have the opportunity to meet new friends and start building the community that you might be craving, come and join us and see how you like it there. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming. I love the conversation. You were a wonderful panel of experts, and I think that you really provided a lot of value for everyone tonight. So thank you very much. Good night, everyone.